Hello, in this video I will be demonstrating how to use CLRBulkload to establish an incremental upload process on a remote server. If you haven't watched the introduction video, I highly recommend that you do so because this presentation builds on top of the previous one. There is a minute detail that I forgot to mention in the previous video, and that is if you're sourcing data from the same server where you have installed CLR bulkload module, then you can utilize something called context connection, and this will improve the performance for reading the data from your SQL Server instance. All right, let's explore our source and target databases, which in this example actually reside on the same SQL Server instance. So what we are going to be doing is to establish an ETL process and upload fact.order to our target database. If we assess the schema information for this table, we can see that there is a non-clustered unique key defined on the column order key and order date key. This is very essential in order to establish an incremental load for a table. You need to identify what defines a unique row. So now that we have gained an understanding about our source table, what actually defines a unique row, what we need to do next is to populate this metadata into our bulk load table. So let me just cancel out of this dialog and go to our host database and open bulk load. We are going to be fetching data from the server which has alias source. And just to save time, I've actually prepared the various object names, and I'm going to copy paste them into the various columns. The data or table is going to be uploaded to a server which has alias target, and the object name remains the same while we are actually switching to the schema DBO. The next thing that we need to populate is a column called key columns, and that is a list of columns that define a unique row within our source table. And as we explored earlier, it is actually order key and order date key which in combination define a unique row within our source table. Change row and Control R and our row is actually saved. Let's take note of the newly created process ID 16. This value is going to be fed into a stored procedure which is going to execute the data transfer process. So let me just switch to my scripts window and change XX to the newly created process ID, mark the line, hit F5, and the data transfer process has started. This can take a couple of seconds to minutes depending on how much data resides in your source table or source object. Now before doing anything else, let's just verify the tables in our target database that they have landed correctly, and that the schema for the table is correctly defined. As you can see, there is a primary key defined on our orders table. Please take note of the staging table. CLRBulkload is always creating a staging table for optimal performance, because when you're bulk inserting data into a SQL Server instance, the optimal performance is gained when the target table doesn't have any indexes. So the next step we want to do is to just repeat the process once more. In the previous execution we can see that 231,412 rows were processed in the last execution. Now if we re-execute the same data transfer, what we will see now is that there are no rows to be processed, and CLRBulkload has utilized maximum key values in order to figure that there are no new rows in the source table to be processed. And just to verify that all data has actually been transferred, I will mark these 3 lines and check the number of rows in our source and target tables. All rows have been transferred. In order to verify that the incremental upload logic is working, what I will do is to delete 955 rows from our target table. And as you can see, marking these 3 lines and hitting F5 deletes 955 rows. Executing the data transfer process once again will this time process 955 rows. And if we re-execute the same process once more, you can see that 0 rows have been processed. Well, this brings me to the end of this demonstration. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and I thank you for watching.